We're going to have a children's story at this time. So children come forward, and after the children's story, we'll have special music.
It's been forever since I've been here. I've just been busy taking care of people. Sometimes you have to do that, don't you? Well, can anybody remember what we talked about the last time I was here? Oh.
Can you remember?
Can you remember who I'm talking about? Very good. And does Sarah remember the guy, what did he hear in the field when his potatoes were saved? Sarah, you're letting me down. I thought for sure you would know his name was Banks. And he heard, what word did he hear? What was the word he heard? That God told him. Because it was after the great disappointment. And they were so sad because Jesus didn't come, right? And he heard this one word. What was it? Sanctuary. Sanctuary. Didn't he hear that word? That's why Jesus comes. But he didn't come because he went to the sanctuary. And then, I didn't talk about it, but then we saw the whole inside the sanctuary and everything. Just like that. So today we're picking up on that story. All right? And this is probably about 3 months later. And he was doing something that Ellen really enjoyed doing. She's now 17 years old. That's a long time to be 17 years old, huh, Gary? So, here they were, all around here. She went to her house. They were all the women, and you know what they like to do the most, right? And Ellen is there praying. And I like to think that when they was getting ready to have this, they wanted to study the scriptures and find out why Jesus didn't come. What happened? Why didn't he come? They had it all figured out. So they thought. But now they've got the word, sanctuary. What's going on in this sanctuary? What were they doing? So they was praying, and they were singing, and they were studying. And Ellen was very sick at 17. As a matter of fact, it says that they all thought that she was going to die. The doctor told her she didn't have much longer to live. And she couldn't hardly talk anymore. She just whispered. She didn't have a voice to talk. Isn't that sad? Sometimes you get laryngitis and you can't talk. Sometimes mom gets it and you like that, right? Sometimes. My mother used to get it when I was a little girl. And we were so sad that she got this. And my daddy used to tease her all the time because her name was Hope. And he'd start singing Whispering Hope all the time, every time she lost her voice, you know? So that worked out pretty good. So Ellen and they're praying. And as they're praying now, each of the ladies had time to pray. And it came Ellen's turn. And can you imagine how she sounded? She probably said, "Dear Jesus, please help us." All of a sudden she fell over in a faint. And the other women thought, well, what happened to her? Well, what's gone on? She laid there, her eyes were still open. She was staring up. And another lady said, "Is she dead?" They said, "I don't know. She's not breathing. Her chest isn't going up and down." They went underneath her nose. There's no air coming out. What do you suppose happened to Ellen? Somebody checked her pulse and said, "Oh, her heart's beating. She's alive. But she's not breathing and she's not talking." They started praying and praying. What's wrong with Ellen? What is she doing? What do you think she was doing? It was her first what? Very good. There she was. She was having a vision, and she didn't know. I wonder, my goodness, these people didn't know what was going on because they never saw it. And you know in Numbers 12, verse 6, it says, if there will be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision. Now, can we think of anybody else that had a vision besides Ellen White in the Bible? Now, we had one in one of our stories. Was you here for the one in the story? You know the guy that had the lions that didn't eat him, and he had the vision about, we had the big statue up there? Remember that one? And let's see, who else do we think had a vision? John in Revelation had a vision about what's going to happen to us. Do you think Noah had to something and had to tell him how to build the ark, didn't it? Do you think the angels was talking to Noah? Think of anybody else? God sends people to tell us what's going on. Sometimes he tells it to the whole church, sometimes he tells it to one individual. But God still communicates with his people. And Ellen White is one that got to be communicated. So she could tell us, and we still get to read it today, and it's so wonderful, isn't it? So we have to think about all the things that Ellen White went through, and that God sends people, the angels, to talk to Ellen. And next week, I won't be here. But the following week, we're going to find out what her vision is. And I promise I'll be here in 2 weeks. And what do you can maybe go ahead and look it up in Life Sketches and see what the vision is. And then you can tell me, okay?